Happy Friday, everybody. You know, the adventures of me and my computer go on. My computer's, I have a newer computer, but sometimes things glitch out. Welcome to the show with Cortney, Stars and One Light, and Lucky Stone. Whew.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
I want to reiterate the thoughts and opinions expressed on this video are just thoughts and opinions only, and from our perspectives. And your perspective, what you hear, will actually be influenced by your own perspective. What you hear will be influenced by your own perspective. So any information that we come upon, I really encourage you to do your own research into the information and see how that will work for you. You're encouraged to do your own research because we'll come up with ideas and everything. But again, what we say isn't for medical or psychological or spiritual advice only. It's mostly for you to use these ideas to help bring yourself up and to help you on your own spiritual journey. And we're not responsible for any information or any loss, damage, or liabilities that may arise from what you do with the information we provide. And we really encourage you that anything after you watch this video that you see professional, other sources of information, and just use it to help bring yourself up. And those ideas expressed for the podcast might not be those of either of us. And also, perspectives change, and everything we come up right now, it might change in a few days when we get more information. So that's the idea, that we come up with these things, and it's for you to, bring yourself up, to, learn new things about yourself. Hello, Scotty Boy. Hello, Lori Eldricken.
I do, Lucky, this is the first time that I have the chat near me that I can see. So hello to, I think Chloe was in here, and Lori and Scotty Boy, Grandpa Brian. That's awesome.
Yeah, hello, Chloe. Hello, Grandpa Brian. And also, before we start this is just me going to ask you a few questions, so, about your channel and about what you do. But more importantly, I want to give you the option that you can say, I don't know, or I'm not sure about it, and then give something, I'm not quite sure, but you can add to it. And most importantly, I also want you to be able to say that this is too complicated to go into further, but give an idea. And the question is much more complicated than the answers I'm going to give, so this is in the right place.
Well, humans do love options, so I guess thank you. So tonight, Lucky, what's the premise of tonight, my dear?
I want to basically give an idea of what your channel is. I want to talk to you and be able to, for you to express yourself, because you have a lot of content on your channel and you don't have many subscribers, and I really think you should have more subscribers. I have more subscribers because of my silly shorts, and that it just kind of drag people in. And I'm very eclectic in the things that I choose. A lot of nature, and it kind of fits together loosely.
Yeah, I love your stuff, Lucky. And clearly other people do too.
Right, yeah, people do, and I do also, I do incite debate and controversy in some of my stuff, because that at one point was a way to get attention. So I'm going to try to get away from that, and so anyone watching this in the future, because I'm hoping to be able to get some of those other views for my shorts to who actually might watch this video, to get an idea of who you are.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Achilli, AHHCHILL.
Oh my goodness, thank you. I just read their comment. I appreciate that.
They're watching the Emerald Tablets. That's awesome. It's awesome. There's so much content on your channel that people,
and much more to come, trust me.
So I want to give an idea of some of the stuff, and I also want to a lot of people going to find you are going to be at the beginning of their journey, and a lot of it is going to be a little much sometimes.
Yeah.
So I want to pull things back and ask questions. These might not be from exactly my perspective, but more I'm trying to find a perspective of someone experimenting or someone who's gone to spirituality and got back out of it and back into it and has some information but might not, fully be able to embrace this. And I'm hoping that to get your perspective and try to bring them into, so that if they want more information, they can find your channel, which actually everything is in the description of this video about Cortney's channel, Stars of the Morning Light, and about her Patreon, because she's got a Patreon, which just has a lot of great lessons, 2 meetings a week, and we also do the weekly Sunday meditation collectively about our intentions, your own personal intentions, and all this stuff. We go deeply into the Patreon, but again, we can still sample it and see and get an idea. Hello,
Well,
Scotty.
thank you for this, Lucky. I mean, that's thank you for this. And you just said, there's a lot of people that are, are maybe just now waking up or tapping into kind of different aspects of spirituality. That was the original intent of my channel, was to be there for those first waking up. But being who I am, it's just kind of morphed into, I think I'm explaining things for those who just woke up, when then I came to find out, no, Cortney, they now usually have to listen a few times over. They, so what you know, and I don't know if I'm over someone's head or, it's too much at the beginning for someone until I get that feedback. But it is a place for at least being inspired, because humans are ultimate beings. They're amazing. And so that at least is there. Even if some of the stuff's over somebody's head, the inspiration is definitely still there.
Yes. And that's another important thing, is that it's an open forum, so that there's a lot of us on different levels of spirituality.
Yes.
And different perspectives. So it's open. So if you have any questions, if anyone's watching this and has any questions, please ask them. There is no silly questions. There's no ridiculous questions. It's all you to express it. Hey, you might have a question and not know how to phrase it. So phrase it in any way possible, as simple as possible, because there is nothing too simple. Because again, even if you know a lot more, but you just ask a simpler question, then bring yourself up, so we can find exactly what you're trying to ask.
Well, and that's why originally I started the Esoteric Tea with like people interviewing me on my own channel, and then it kind of morphed into us every Friday night. Because it was I'm not going to know when I'm off on a tangent, because those who watch me or listen, thank you, might know that I will maybe go off on some tangent, but I'll come back in. I'll take it for full circle, but I'm not going to know, like, while I'm doing my thing, if people need me to repeat or expand upon something. So the Esoteric Tea actually started that way, Lucky, of people kind of interviewing me, because they're going to know, wait, Cortney, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by that? And so doing this here too, us talking always works out great, because I get things from you, you get things from me, and we're able to pause and expand or say, I don't know what you're talking about, man. So that's good. So how are we going about this, Lucky? Because I am Cortney, host of Stars of the Morning Light. Like, I don't know even where to jump in.
No. I
good.
have pages.
Good. You're the host this time, and I'm in your. This is your football field that I'm on. Your home court.
I'll let you lead. I mean, I'll lead, but if you want to divert the path in any way, that's fine too. This is kind of being an open forum, but I love keeping notes. I love keeping what are they called? Lists.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So me and my lists, and that's what this is about. And I actually had a few ideas, but I want to start at the most complicated thing. Well, maybe not. But
That's so you. Let's start at the most complicated. I
right,
love it.
because the idea is that, again, this is only a taste. I only want a taste of what your channel is about, because we can go deeper into it when people can watch your channel, but I want to get an idea, because your channel has a lot of information. So I just want to give a taste, no deep dives, just give an idea, and then, we can rehash and go back if we need to.
Okay.
But here we go. Living in 3D. What is it like when you go to 5D and you look back at 3D? Is it an emotional thing, or is it a physical thing where you can see different, you can hear different, you can feel, smell different? What is it like when you go from 5D looking back at 3D? Good God, I froze. Is Cortney frozen or am I frozen? It looks like Cortney's frozen to me. Oh, wow. Cortney seems to have frozen. That's unfortunate. And wow, this is the fun. This is the fun. I thought it would be my channel that was going to have the problem, but it turns out hers had. You know what? It's all good. And well, I do know, because I have watched Courtney's channel, that the thing about 4D is a portal to 5D, and then from 5D you go to 7D, and from there, and in 7D is more of a non-judgmental level. Unfortunately, I did not prepare to do Courtney's stuff, but whew, that's kind of funny. Let's just relax a bit. I Scotty boy, I don't know what happened to 60, and that was what I was hoping to ask Courtney, but evidently, I lost her, and I was not anticipating this, which I should anticipate everything, because that's how spirit works, right? Well, thank you, Neo Queen Ash. I can read that one. Oh, me. I am Lucky Stone. Lucky, actually, this channel was actually to do cat videos. I had a cat named Lucky, and he moved out. And it was going to be videos of the cat, and the cat was named Lucky. And I said, okay, fine. And I just started doing affirmations, and somehow, magically, I became Lucky. Lucky is not a name I use in my normal life. But, I still see the cat on a daily basis. He's living with a neighbor, and he's much happy with the neighbor. And my wife asks me, why do you keep visiting that cat? It's fine, Courtney. I'll just vamp. And I say, because I love him and I want him to be happy. And I think also that's a lesson for all of us, that sometimes things don't work out between individuals, even pets. And sometimes you got to make the choice of, if they're happier somewhere else, you can still be happier with them and still share a little bit with them. And, that's what life is about. You can, break close contact and still be happy, still have each other. Oh, fine. You're back again.
Hi. Was that you or was that me?
That was all you, baby.
That.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? We're honestly, what's happening is there's a storm all up the East Coast. So
Right.
you're talking the internet. So the internet between you and me might have had a glitch and might have cut you off.
Okay, I'm sorry, everyone listening, and
No,
Lucky, however you saved the day. Good
no,
job, buddy.
it's we're just gonna go with it because sometimes things happen and it's maybe for the best. Sometimes weird shit happens and it's for the best.
Yeah, right, exactly. Um, so you were posing the question.
I was posing a question asking you what it's like from 5D looking back at 3D. Is it an emotional thing or is it kind of a physical thing where it's, you can see different, smell different, hear different? What is perspective from a 5D visual towards the 3D?
Well, for me personally, I mean that answer I think would change within time because you're really what is happening for a very long time is you're kind of in that 4D teeter totter that goes back and forth. Like you make a commitment to practice compassion and practice using different glasses, as I would say, the 5D glasses of compassion and um, so it's not for a long time it's kind of like you're in and out with observing things differently, um, but yet you could be slammed right back into 3 for whatever particular reason. So that's what 4 is. It's like that teeter totter, and so you have to kind of keep refocusing, making the efforts to try to sustain 5D awareness and consciousness and sight for longer periods of time. So, like when I first started practicing, it was like, maybe it'll last a half an hour when I'm all alone and nobody's around, and then it grew and grew. You got to practice. I will say with doing the full transition into releasing of the 3D and the detachment of all things 3D and which is an arduous process. I will say, Lucky, it's not even. So I have to actually kind of correct your words for a moment, and I don't. It's not a looking back. It's not like I'm not. It used to be when I would be practicing. It was like I was kind of putting on like these rose-colored glasses in a way of seeing things in a different light, of seeing the potential of all great things that could still even come out of the heartache of 3D, right? I could do things of that nature and see what was really happening or see things like that, but it's not a looking back. It doesn't exist. So it doesn't exist. As in, are you still in the same body of form? Are you still walking around? Are you still cleaning your house? Are you still doing things that all humans need to do? Yes. But it is in a very different awareness and comprehension and knowing and understanding and sight, as in what most people have fears and doubt and forms of attachment to. It just does not exist. So I could expand upon that, but I'm. You're telling me
Uh,
tonight's a little bit no,
it's
Courtney.
it's.
you know.
I want see. You once said, "Why do people want to stay in the 3D?" But you need to sell it because why would I want to go through that pain in arduous? What would I get from being in 5D if I leave the 3D? If it's such painful, if
Oh,
there's a transition,
okay,
what will I see? And if I do happen to,
okay,
because for me personally, from when I hit there, it's more like I got there, I look, oh, this is different, this is great, this is new, I fell back into 3D. Oh wow, look at this is fabulous. Oh, I can see this is so different. The flowers have
mm-hmm.
their colors the same, but they're different.
Vibrant and
These
different. Yeah,
colors, and
yeah.
I can see when I get into the 5D and I can bring it to the now. I'm trying to, I'm going a little bit higher than I wanted, but we're going to the now. I can see in colors that I could not see before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, what are these? And
It's lovely.
but I want to know, if I am a 3D person, why would I want to go to 5D if it's such a painful struggle?
It is so you actually, last week when we were recorded to have Friday night on my channel, because we had to pre-record because I don't have the 500 subs to go live, and I do believe it's 500. I'm not too far away from it. You actually kind of answered that for me. And so I was thinking about that, and I've been thinking about that when you said, people want to win. People want to win. And what's interesting, and what's kind of the difficulty in the arduous process about even obtaining or sustaining 5D for a great period of time, in order to then fully anchor yourself, it's that aspect, is that our minds, so our consciousness that has lived many lives over and over and over on this wonderful planet, over and over and over again, they've all been lived in 3D. They've all been lived within the for the majority. Some of us can remember when it wasn't, right? But the majority of our lives were lived with 3D constructs and thinking and habits and behaviors. That's what our consciousness knows. That's also what these bodies know. So to start really making the commitment and refocusing and working towards it to sustain it, it is difficult because the conscious and the body that is attached to the ego is going to try to have self-preservation. And we are programmed, as everybody wants to talk about the program, because our minds have lived in the 3D consciousness over and over and over again, which the 3D consciousness is very much the take consciousness, the take, mine, us versus them, right? That sort of thing, me versus you, me, take. That's what 3D really is. It's hard to let go of that because in that take also tells us we should win. We need to win this fight. We need to win this battle. We need to win the 3D game board. We need to win. So you're the one who actually approached that last time we spoke. I'm just iterating now as to why. Why is it in the human consciousness to have that desire to win? Right? Well, it's because it's always been there, because it's what we've had to live through over and over again. And we have established that program within ourselves, thinking that that is the way out. And so I know that was a little bit of a sidetrack as to your question, but that's why the process is so difficult. Because it's not just it's a whole transformation of mind, body, and soul. It's a whole transformation of, even as you're going through this, there's different stages and levels of sustaining, to even in the point when you get to, let's say you are able to detach from all things of 3D, which is quite a process, because what I mean by detach is you have to get to a level of not just awareness, but also acceptance that if you lose all relationships because of this, then so be it. If you lose all you have because of this, so be it. Now, I'm not saying that would happen. I'm not saying my husband would ever leave me because I'm going through this, and he's not, right? Or whatever. But you have to come to a level of acceptance of that, right? You have to come to a level of acceptance of people might fall away. You might have to choose to walk away. All sorts of 3D attachments to all the things that make us feel good, right? All the things that, when they can feel so much better in other ways. But to do that takes a lot. And then even if you can get through that, the acceptance of all of that, Well, then there's other parts to it as well. That's when you have to pay attention to what my teachers would call spiritual egotism. Of like, oh, I'm holier than thou because I'm capable of detaching from all people, places, and things. No, because now you have to, because that is again that human conscious mind that's been living in 3D with the body of form and the ego saying, no, 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 we're going to win, because that's a win with spiritual egotism. It's still using the 3D paradigm and construct when you're trying to actually lift yourself out of it. So you're asking, sell it, Cortney, pitch it. The best way that I can pitch it is, the best way I could pitch it is the concept of freedom that humans desire and want. The concept of, and I'm saying concept because people have not actually, I don't believe 3D conscious has even a crumb of understanding and full awareness of what freedom is, or manifesting is, or what divine love really is. So I say this with all kind of, in all respect to everyone, and even the respect of those 3D thoughts of it. That is how I would pitch it. Is it is a freedom, a divine love, and the human birthright of our power that no one has experienced in many a cycles. So I guess that's how I would pitch it. Lucky, did that answer your question for you? I know I'm trying to be conscious in my own right now in the moment, because I am here, as to when to stop talking, Cortney.
The thing about 5D is you're free from the anchors of 3D. You're free from the attachment of the little things. And when you're into 5D, you will not need something like this, because the intellect, the direct connection is there.
It's free from the suffering of 3D too. I mean, 3D is the take, it is the death, it is the pain and suffering, it's freedom from that, and freedom to live in the divine birthright that is humans. That is what we can obtain, but we just haven't tasted it or known it in a long time. You know, when this is why I always will say on my channel that I love Carl Jung. I love him. Introducing shadow work stuff is amazing. It's wonderful. And I might go off on just a little tangent, so you got to kind of bear with me, Lucky.
You might go off on a tangent? At what point?
So,
I'm sorry.
When he would talk about humans don't really have free will, because it is always based on the programming, based on the options that are presented in front of us, that even when we try to get out of that box, as we spoke about a few weeks ago, that it's still, we're going to bounce into another box of another option that is only presented. That's what I mean by freedom. Freedom from that box. Freedom of the actual human free will that most people think that we don't even have. And here's another aspect that I do want to say. So I have always disagreed with Carl Jung in that respect, because you can exercise human free will in that way, but it works out better when you practice sustaining 5. What I wanted to mention too, because I don't know if I've ever really talked about it. I did a long time ago on my program, but I don't remember what video or whatnot. Especially, I think when we were talking, I think I covered Manly P. Hall's Initiates of the Flame, which is great work. He wrote it when he was 21. I mean, that brilliant being. And he talked about the Kundalini awakening. And that's a very, that's something that people that are just waking up to, they hear that a lot, the Kundalini awakening. Well, what's fascinating about the Kundalini awakening is that snake, right? Because it's based on a snake that's moving up, you know, it uncoils from your root chakra and it moves up the spine, cleansing, clearing out, and opening the chakra system. And then the head is at the base of your neck, which is your medulla. Well, what many people don't understand is that Kundalini awakening really only happens in order for you to understand that you are a divine being, that you are worthy, that you are deserving, that there is more than the paradigm, there is more than the dogma, there is more than the programming. That's what that Kundalini awakening is. Now, there are tribes in South America that understood, and this is where the tangent's going to go. 3D is actually, and I'll say it in this way because most listeners would understand it, the reptilian thinking. So our human consciousness has been living within reptilian thinking because it is the reptilian thinking that is creating the paradigms and the programs that we are orchestrating our lives through, right? Making our choices from. So our consciousness gets, obtained and stuck in this reptilian thought, right? That is 3D, and it is take, right? And eventually it takes your life. So there were beautiful tribes in South America and the Essene that Christ studied with that knew that, okay, once that Kundalini awakening happens, you have to then remove the snake, because the snake of the Kundalini is also attached to the reptilian thinking. All it is there is to tell you, you are bigger, you are ultimate, you are beautiful, you are divine, but you still have to remove it, because if not, it sets back there. So you're awake, but you have no idea how to get out, how to lift up out of 3D. Hence the struggle that most people are living through in today's world. So it is a remove the snake, and you can see it in the form of completely detach from the people, places, and things that are also of 3D. And it's not that you physically walk away. I mean, if you need to, you need to. Or it is how those relationships are represented in your life and how you represent yourself within them. So I went off on a tangent there, Lucky. There you go, buddy. Because I started to keep going and I was like, nope, stop.
Yeah, we're trying to present this to babies.
Babies.
New people
babies,
to this.
Babies.
You're newbies to this, and you keep going off
I know.
higher level. I want to be able to tell, because you have said, ask me, why don't people want to get out of 3D? One thing is they don't know how.
Yeah.
Two, they don't know why. So first thing, if they don't know how, well, why would I need to know how? Unless you have the option of going, okay, what is it that I would want to go to? And that's what I'm trying to present. And then, of course,
that's much more, I will say, Lucky, that's more on my Patreon than on my YouTube. That's definitely much more on my Patreon. The how.
No, the how is not the problem. My thing is the why. You asked yourself, why don't people want to leave 3D?
Yeah.
Because why? Why would I want to? And it's about a higher level of consciousness. It's about a more of a freedom.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make this simple, and you.
Yeah. And I went way off. See, you just cut me off. Just put your hand up and say, "Stop, Cortney. Just stop. You're. Just stop." I need that.
What I also trying to express is that when you're in the 5D, which you can't initially, you can't stay, and you have to keep back coming in and out of it in the initial stages of it. it's beautiful. It's you see more colors, sounds are different. I
Mm-hmm.
suffer from terrible tinnitus. I have ringing in my ear all the time. But with the ability to kick into 5D, again, it's brief. I can hear things that don't exist. So when I talk to somebody and I have that ringing in my ears and it should block me from hearing, I can hear them because I know what their true message is.
Yeah.
Words out of the
Yes.
mouth, not so much, but the message. Also,
Yes.
it's something that I just noticed when I walk around at night sometimes at work, because I'm
Yeah.
empty big building and I can do this. I will close my eyes and walk down the hallway because somehow I know where I don't memorize the walls and everything, but I
You can see.
intuitive what
Yeah.
it is, and it's not a visual. It's not a it's a different level of existing
Yeah.
and kicking into it. And it's like I said, it's kicking in and out of it. And
Yeah.
people will ask, wait,
Okay.
3D to 5D. The 4D is the portal between. You
Yeah,
see,
it's the back of it's. I call it the teeter totter.
I
You're just
understand.
teeter tottering. Yeah.
It's the doorway. It's the in and out.
Yes. And so when I say freedom, too, the biggest thing is freedom from fear. There's so much fear in the world, and it doesn't matter if it's from something small to something big. There's so much fear. And fear, if we really get into it, that is what makes the choices. So we're not exercising our human free will. And so the freedom is to put all that crazy stuff that I said, right, into a very beautiful little package is freedom of fear, freedom from fear.
Freedom
It's
from fear, and it's a simple thing.
Yeah,
You don't have to explain that because
yeah,
it's very important in that in the current life we live right now, fear is
yeah,
everywhere.
right.
And hello, Robert, Milky Way Soul Tribe, and hello, Amy Zills. Welcome, Amy
Oh,
Zills.
Amy, good to see Amy. Yes,
So,
hi everybody. With my tangent there.
and there you go. It's the 3D is a level of fear that you will not have in the 5D. So,
Yes. And so you pose the question of like when you're in 5 looking back. Why I tend to ask you questions when we're together, Lucky, is because I don't have any of that. I and please everyone know I have been this has been a process for well now I've been working towards this with commitment and focus for at least I don't know a good while for quite a while, at least 2017, and prior to that I was working on all the healing that I had to do to then start working towards obtaining 5D. But when you pose me questions or I pose you questions, like when I pose them, it is truly because I don't experience like others do. It's not just that I don't watch the news. I mean, I do know there's things happening in the world. It's not that I don't, my bank account gets real low. It's not that things don't like that happen. It's that I do not have the same experience because I'm not attached to it, remember? I'm not attached to what's happening in the world, and I'm not attached to my bank account. I'm not attached to any of that. But at the same time, I don't have fear that when you see things, when you see any things like that, there's not a fear there. And so when I do ask questions, it is oftentimes that I am trying to understand where people are at with things. So when I pose that question of like, why don't they want to? It's because I genuinely didn't know. But it's because now I know the difference. And that's what it really is that people don't know until they know. And that's with all things. You don't know until you know. And so practicing with being the observer, with choosing love over fear, with my teacher Shri, who passed this past year. He started having us understand, like I said, back in like 2017, that all things in life are an opportunity to practice compassion. Well, I did that then. Every situation, all conversations. Did sometimes I backslide into 3? Yeah. Did sometimes who knows what I did and said? Yes. But then I practiced compassion for myself, of knowing that I've always had this consciousness that doesn't know any better, doesn't know any different. And so practicing the compassion and seeing that all people, places, and things and circumstances are all opportunities to practice compassion will help to experience 5D. And you have to have a little bit of that taste. And what you're talking about, Lucky, is the taste. That the colors are different. The air, oh my goodness, I love the air. The air is different. So much is different in your experience that hopefully it entices to continue to practice.
Yes. And the 5D is compassion, neutrality, and non-judgment.
Well, non-judgment, sorry, I was going to cut you off there and answer
I know,
and
that's
correct
70.
that.
I understand non-judgment is 70. I understand.
You practice it much more because you're already going to be practicing non-judgment when you're walking with compassion and practicing the compassion. 7D is much more non-judgment because that's a whole different thing. I don't know if we're going into that or you. Sorry,
no, let's not go too far. But
yeah.
More importantly, tasting. We're just tasting. And where is 60 then? Where did 60 go? You said 5D and 70. Where did 60 go?
It's
70's influence.
I think this is when. Thank you for giving me the options at the beginning when I get to kind of back out of this question and go, it's probably too much, Lucky.
So that's the thing.
I know. Now you're like, oh. I gave her options and she took it.
But the 60 is discussed on your Patreon, because
yes.
I have notes on that, which means, and I'm part of the Patreon, so I know. I watched some of the several videos over the course at work. Of course, I'm supposed to be working, right? But at work, I'm doing my work and listening to Cortney's Patreon video so I can have enough information for this video. And I've already gone 43 minutes off of 2 questions. So that's wonderful.
No, you haven't gone off for 43 minutes. I have. Oh, Lucky.
But no. I want to change directions a little bit because we have covered this enough. Because if they want more, there are videos on your channel, and there's also a lot in the Patreon that people can. There's also, this more. Here's a tough one. Am I raising up? You silly camera. I should stop that camera from doing that, but it's fine. You know what? I don't judge your camera.
Energy. Yeah, your energy's dancing. Yeah. My energy at the beginning is knocking the internet out. Your energy's dancing with the camera. It's okay.
So here's a question that I don't know if you'll be willing to answer, but I'm going to ask it anyways. Do you believe in the soulless people? Do you believe there are people walking around with no souls?
I thought we talked about this before, but I'll answer
again,
it. Yeah.
Listen, this is a taste.
Yes.
Because we talked about this before. Again, we can go shallow.
A taste. Okay.
It's a yes
to
or no.
Taste.
Can you answer yes or no?
Yes. I do believe that there are those that are without souls, but they do have consciousness, and so they could inherit a soul. And but yes, there are humans, consciousness in a body of form that does not have a soul attached to it as well. There we go. Simple answer.
Exactly. So
good job, Cortney.
This is a 7-question thing because it leads. This is a leading to this. So the soulless can gain a soul.
They can. I didn't think they could, and then I saw it. I witnessed it.
Yep, there you go. Okay, here we go. What happens when a soulless person gains enlightenment?
Then hopefully they
That's a
keep going with that enlightenment,
but
and
but
then they can inherit a soul. That's the
you gotta
process,
remember,
really.
yeah, see that's the thing. Do they have, as a soulless individual, do they have any free will?
Yes, yes,
So
because the
okay,
consciousness. It's still
so
that
the
consciousness has probably lived
consciousness allows
multiple
them to have the
lives.
free will.
But that goes actually back to what I was just talking about. The human free will is very ultimate and open and can create and do all things, but usually those with like a soul can identify it much faster that they are a part of the divine, and so therefore they can create and live freely amongst all these people, places, and things. But those that don't have necessarily that divine spark, the soul part within them, and it's just consciousness in operation in a body of form. If enlightenment happens within them, and then they keep working within that enlightenment and keep doing maybe some practices, to expand, they can inherit it, a soul, let's say. The thing is, though, is that it's that consciousness definitely only really has known 3D. It hasn't known anything else. There wasn't anything else attached to it at any other time, like a conscious and soul connection. So it does take much more work, much harder for them.
And it's mind shattering for them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm,
it's you have yes. Yeah.
so I am under the impression that those people are going to need a lot of help, and they're going to come to channels like yours
Yeah.
for that guidance and
Yeah, that was
trying to
yeah.
lead that path and trying to help them and you link, because although there's several of us who have a soul are fine, there's going to be the soulless who are going to gain,
Yeah. I
and
I, I
they're going to
completely
be
agree.
desperate.
It's a part of the. I do think that's a part of an aspect of the great awakening that we're in, is that all these consciousness that are in bodies of form that are living amongst us, all of a sudden they're going to wake up, and that wake up is actually they're going to all of a sudden receive and know that divine is within them as well. And then what? That could be massive, and it could look like people are kind of going crazy and all sorts of things. That is why I started the channel, and but this is why it's great that you and I talk, Lucky, because yes, I need people to kind of pull me back and say, Courtney, whoa, 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 come back to ground level. Go from the basics, the beginning, and remind me that that is actually what's needed more. My main focus now that I do understand in a much more rich, deeper knowing is that all humans need faith and reassurance. And so that is definitely going to be a big focus of mine going forward. I understand that now in a whole new level of knowing that that's coming actually in from 7D.
Mhm.
That all humans need faith and reassurance. And I know what that represents now. And so that is actually going to be so much more of my focus. And that's what I'm saying. You can still find the inspiration at Stars of the Morning Light. Even if I'm by myself and I go off on some crazy tangent, I'll bring it back to trying to get back to the basics. I do usually.
There's also something else I'd like to discuss. There's
Go
something
ahead.
called woke culture. And this is a non-judgmental thing, but the woke culture is false enlightenment with ego attached.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. Do you
Mm-hmm.
think the soulless gaining enlightenment are, let's go partially, responsible for the woke culture? Because again, they've only known 3D through all their existence. So they're gaining enlightenment, but they're attaching it to the 3D and making it, taking the enlightenment and kind of modeling it to look at me, how enlightened I am, making woke
Mm-hmm.
culture.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what's your
So that's,
question, Lucky?
it's
So
just,
what's your question about it?
what is causing woke culture? It's basically the it's being fed by the giving enlightenment to the soulless individuals because they don't know, and they're just learning about enlightenment. They've never experienced it, so they've lived in 3D. They've lived in the ego existence, so they've influenced and created the woke culture. The woke culture is basically taking a good thing and making it look at me ego centric, and that's the problem we live in today.
Okay.
There's no question. I'm just basically saying
You're
that
just making a.
it's it's
Here's the
okay.
deal, though.
I'm saying woke
Yes,
culture is okay because it's a part
it
of the
is.
transition. It's part of the growth. It's a
Yes,
stepping stone.
right. I once had, because the students that I have that are local, I'll tend to have an occasional like student appreciation night that they'll come to the house and we can sit around and ask questions and we can all learn from each other. Um, and at one of them, somebody was asking me about a family member going to church and what do you think about this and what do you think about that, and I said, I don't care how somebody comes to their awakening. I don't care how someone gains enlightenment. The the delivery is just the delivery. It's what we do with it afterwards that matters. So the woke culture, any revivals, any YouTube channel, any conversation, even if it doesn't work for that person because it doesn't fully resonate, but it plants that seed, that's fine. That's fine because it's the arrival of alignment and the arrival of higher consciousness awareness that is more important than the delivery system. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important because a seed grows in fertilizer, and what is fertilizer? It's extra.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, um, I'm gonna shift gears a little bit.
This is your show, man.
I'm going to shift gears quite a bit. This is going to be a little bit outside of the box. I don't want to talk about the box, but
The box.
this is about healing others.
Mm,
Can
okay.
you heal your past self? Can
As
you?
in,
Let me give you an example. You had a traumatic life. You had a situation. Let's just say you're the kind of person who's crazy enough to remember every aspect of your life, the traumas in your life. And when you try to meditate, you think about that small child who was abused emotionally. Let's go emotionally because that's much easier to deal with. Emotionally abused, but emotional abuse lasts a lot longer than physical abuse because it just sits there.
yeah.
Let's say you were emotionally abused by a parent who was supposed to care. Can you send healing energy to that self, to that child self, and try
Yeah.
to heal that child self?
Yes. Yes, definitely. Definitely. I still to this day like it. So I have done that. I have done that with different healing modalities, and I've also just done it in my memory because we have those memories, you know.
Mentioned on your Patreon. That's why I'm trying to bring it up.
Yeah, yes. So here's the deal though, like you can, that's not just all the healing you can do. Like you can not just go back in your memory and tell that little kid, you know what, I'm here. I'm here. You know, you're going to grow up to be this awesome, amazing person and give that kid the affirmations right behind all that horrible negative energy, right? You can do that within your own memory. You don't have to have healing modalities to do it, but you can do it. Um, I also still to this day, at least once a month. I try to remember once a month. When I first started, it was like once a week. I personally black out like an hour or two of time, and I say to my inner child, because I had to start being the parent of my inner child, because my inner child and my ego, which this happens with most people, they become best buds. They become best buds because the ego grows big and big and big, especially if abuse is around. It grows big and big and big, protection, protection, protection. And then that little broken child, that little painful child is like in the car. They're both in the front seat of the car of your life, driving and making the decisions. And so the little child that needs the healing, it's good to start being the parent for them because they live within you. The child, the teenager, the young adult, the 30-something-year-old, they're all within you. So at least once a month, I still block out like an hour or two, and I tap into one of those Cortneys. The little 6-year-old Cortney or teenage Cortney, and I go, hey, what do you want to do? Because they know now that I am the adult. I am taking care of them. I am helping them. I am living our life much more healthy than I ever did prior to this journey of, healing. And I still say, what do you want to do? I got an hour. I got 2 hours. It's all yours, little Cortney. What would you like to do? And little Cortney could say, I want to color. Little Cortney could say, I really need to cry. Little Cortney could say, I want to watch a cartoon and hold a doll. Whatever little Cortney wants to do, I then do that. I physically in this body do that for her. And that's healing the little one inside by giving them the space and the freedom and the right to exercise what they always probably wanted to do, but pain came in before the self-expression did. So I give them that opportunity. And then when that hour or two is done, I say, okay, I hope you had fun. I hope it was good. And I'll see you again. And do trust that you are safe and you are loved. And I am here now. I am the adult in your life. I'm the parent that loves you. So there's a lot of different things. You can, in your memory, send love and light to them. You can go back and give all the affirmations to them in your memory. You can do things in today like that. Give them space and time to express themselves in the way that they always intended before the pain happened. So, see, little Scotty likes to eat mud. That's right. That's right. You let little Scotty eat some mud.
He brought up something that I wasn't even considering. Ancestry healing. I never considered the ancestors and using healing towards your ancestors, because we do learn about our past.
Yeah.
And sometimes our past is sad. Our past people that we know and grew up, and we find out their history.
Yes. Usually we find out if we really take the time to want to understand how things have happened. Right? It's usually because it's this long line, this long chain. That's why we refer to it as, I'm breaking the chain. I'm going to be doing it differently. I got to break the chain because it's the whole generational chain of abuse, mishaps, addiction, all of it, right? Things that are learned that also then become part of the genetic DNA after long periods of time, like addiction, right? So, I really want to say when we take an ample amount of time to heal ourselves, we are breaking that chain, which then automatically starts healing the past, right? But we can also, especially, it works better too if you might work with different healing modalities, like take Reiki, for example. There's a distance symbol in Reiki that can be used for all time and space. So let's say you have a picture of your great great grandpa. You never met the man, but you know that his actions kind of started a chain of a bunch of junk that came down 4 generations or three generations. Because he is an ancestor, you don't have to have permission from him to send love and light to that energy. Like all people, places, and things are just energy. So you can, it works really good if you have a picture of the person. You can send positive love and light to the person. If it is someone in our ancestry or in our family line that is still alive, that is a permission thing. But we automatically heal what has been when we stop the thought patterns and behaviors that become inherent in us, and we start to heal ourselves. So it's time and space and healing. It's all fluid. It's all fluid, and so it is possible. It is definitely possible. Ancestry, your inner child stuff. If it is someone else, all healing, all magic, all everything, consent, permission, right? All things that pertain to another living being and creature, nature, all of it is based on permission. So I hope that answered some of it.
No, it is about permission, which is another. Let's put that on the side. It's the ancestry. You can send healing to your ancestors, and you don't need the permission. And she froze again.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's a weird situation.
oh,
Yeah, you're in and out. Your sound is in and out, so we'll just give it a little patience, and let's just go with that. It's healing can be sent to the ancestors because they're part of us. While it is very important that when you heal others, there should be some permission. You have to get permission from people outside of your circle. You're coming back again.
okay. I heard all of that, Lucky. I heard what you were saying. It was a great way to sum it up. Good job, buddy. Um, I don't know, because you go in and out, I go in and out. It's wild. It's a happy Friday night.
It is all part of the adventure. It's all part
Yeah.
of the adventure. It's all fine. It's all part of the thing. It's not a big deal. But there's something very important coming up, which I seem to have misplaced. Oh, here it is. There's a full moon coming up August 19th.
Yeah.
August 19th is going to be a full moon at 11:26 a.m. Mountain Time. You have a very detailed moon manifestation class, but that you have to join the Patreon. But
Yeah.
for $5, you can learn about it, and get into it and get information about moon manifestation. It's available in the Patreon.
Yeah, the Patreon, so it's either $5 or $8. It can be 30, but I think there's only one more slot for that. That gets you also an Akashic reading every month. I do ask for, if you can afford the $8, please do the $8 because that kind of makes up the difference for those who can only do 5. So I teach there twice a month, live classes. The what you're talking about, Lucky, is I have a very extensive moon manifesting curriculum that you also get for free. You get actually a whole lot of my curriculum for free just by subscribing for that $5 because for me it's much more important that people get the information. And also, like we kind of said before, it's on my Patreon much more than on like YouTube that I'm talking about big broader concepts like 60 or moon manifesting. And my moon manifesting is a very you're not going to find it anywhere else. You're not going to find any of that stuff anywhere else.
It's detailed, very detailed. There's a lot of information in that. A heck
Yeah.
of a lot of information. Um,
It takes time. You have to, you have to practice. Not That's the thing too, is that you brought up the woke aspect, or the kind of the what would be called in today's world, like the plastic shamanism or the cookie cutter stuff. I don't have any issue with that, being that that's where people start, or that's what people go through, and whatever their avenue is. My stuff, though, is not that. I guess you would say it's like my moon manifesting stuff. That's actually 25 years of experience that I personally have studying and doing moon magic. 25 years. I was 17 when the moon called to me. So I do know a lot of things that you're not going to find in a book. You're not going to find in a cookie cutter kind of course elsewhere, because it's 25 years of hardcore personal experience. Um, so nothing against them, but if and it's taught. Most of my stuff is taught in ways that all people can latch on and practice and do. It's not that, I mean, humans are so amazing. We're all so amazing. Um, but if people are thinking it's that, it's not that. The $5 is very worth. Is very worth. Well, you're a patron, Lucky. Do you think the $5 is worth what you get there?
it's a lot of information. That's it. There's a lot of information from different aspects of spiritualism, and it's very important to get that, um, because you're not going to get the wide variety of anywhere else. Really, you're not going to get the wide variety of information from you're going to get. I mean, you, you talk about aliens. You talk about on the moon manifestation. You talk about 3D, 5D, 7D, 9D. Um,
Lots of healing.
Lots of
Yeah.
healing. I mean, honestly, didn't even talk about the pyramid stuff, which is, for me,
Right.
it's a cornerstone of your channel. But the problem is, talking about the pyramid is in of itself a long. You really can't. I mean, you can get surface about pyramid. The pyramid meditation is extraordinary. It's something that
Man.
I didn't think I would use. I was into Egyptology for a while, and these are my cards, which I don't use anymore. That's why they're in a frame.
Right.
Um, and one of the things I learned in the beginning is, if you find yourself in a pyramid, it is a transition. It is a huge transition. It is, and can be, a painful challenge, but you'll end up better for it. But to me, that was a scary idea of getting into the challenge, the idea of being challenged, and you know, and now, to me, using pyramids on a daily basis, that's just normal for me now,
Oh,
because
oh, I
that's.
love hearing that. Good. Good.
I mean, it's like the Ave Sa breath, That's another
Yes.
thing, but that's Shri and Kara. I remember her name,
Yes.
Shri and Kara.
Yes.
That's their thing,
That's
and that
from my teachers.
and
Yes.
you brought that into yours, and the Serenity Prayer, which you've done, with the Serenity Prayer, you've added to the. Oh God, I'm here.
Layers.
I'm
How
ready.
deep it can go. Yeah.
So these are all important, but again, honestly, these are different things you get for different places, and they're all available in your Patreon, which is what I should have started with this in. I mean, we missed the big Hug a Giant Day, which was just a few days ago.
Yeah, but that was great. It's gonna catch on. Hug a giant. Go find a giant and hug him. And I actually, Lucky, you don't know, there were people DMing me that had, like, their birthday was that day, or their kid's birthday was that day, or they're married to a 6'6" man, and their 12-year-old son's already towering over them. Like, people were really responding to, I like this, I love this idea, as in, find a giant and give them a hug. They need love and appreciation. Yeah.
I mean, totally forgot the Emerald Tablets teachings,
Yeah.
and of course, but the Edgar Casey teachings are all on your channel. That's in
Yes.
the Hermetic teachings. The Hermetic and the Edgar Casey are all over your channel, and we
Yeah.
didn't even get
Playlists
into.
all over the place.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, the Edgar Casey stuff, even getting surface level, that would be several videos. Just talking
Right.
surface level, because there's so much information about Edgar Casey. You did spend several videos about the Emerald Tablets, and you were reading the Emerald Tablets and giving your perspective on those. Um,
Yeah. And, I know, like, the material is not the actual tablets. Trust me, I do know that. But I always will say you can use almost anything. When I was an English teacher, I would be using fairy tales for inspirations or whatever book we were reading. So even within the Emerald Tablet material, it is to inspire everyone to understand that we are so much greater than humans allow themselves to be. And I do want to say allow, because we have to give ourselves permission to be bigger and greater and better than we are. And we seem to not allow ourselves to be. And that is the pain of the 3D. From in my humble opinion, is that lack of allowing ourselves to be as big and bright and as beautiful as the stars that we are. That's the sadness. Yeah.
there's a lot, absolutely a lot to it. Um, there is something I'd like to discuss, that there are people who have an aversion to being called beautiful and wonderful. Do you understand that? There are people who, when you say things like, where is this? I wrote this all down and now I've lost it.
When I say someone is beautiful,
Yes. Do you know how hard it is for some people who have most of their lives, their childhood, not been beautiful? So, how can you help them achieve and being called beautiful stars and be able to accept it? Good luck
I
with
just
that
keep
one.
saying it. You just keep saying it because they are. You just keep saying it because they are. It's not going to end up being their job to learn to accept that, and they have to hear it and know it and feel it first. And I see it. Even though I can't see you through the screen right now, I can see it. I can see all of the people beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And so you just keep saying it, right? Now, are there things that they can do for themselves? Yes, but most of them aren't going to even attempt to do that until they at least trust that there's someone out there that does think they're beautiful. And I do. I think all of them are beautiful. Oh my goodness, they're all beautiful. So you just keep saying it. Because all humans need faith and reassurance. And so
The
I'm
problem,
reassuring to them that they are beautiful. Because they are. They are. They are. Like, I get excited when we talk about stuff like this. They are. Everyone is. Everybody listening, all of you in the beautiful chat that I see over here on my phone, you all are so beautiful. Lucky, you're beautiful. Lucky's beautiful.
yeah, that's a tough one, but we'll
Yeah,
go along
Lucky's
with it.
beautiful. You shine. You shine.
There's a lot of us have a really weird past.
Mm-hmm.
Great families, good families, strong families, but we lived in basements, and we're unheated basements, but we don't need
And
to go deep
here's,
in. Yeah.
we have talked about that, especially around the holidays. Here's the thing, Lucky, is I think it's more people have to maybe change their concept of what beautiful is.
Ah, now that.
Like, Lucky, I can see all. We were even just on the phone today, so now I'm just going to get all sorts personal. We were on the phone today, and I told you, Lucky, I can see you. I know the inside of Lucky. I can see all that is Lucky Pluses, minuses, fears, hopes, dreams, all of it. Love, light. That is beautiful. The complexities and the intricate nature of all humans and their potentiality and their misfortunes are all so beautiful in the way that are carried within the light that is that human. And so you're beautiful. Everyone's beautiful. It's how we view the term beautiful. And you
Yes,
are,
that's
yeah, you are of nature. You are of creation. So all of creation is beautiful.
and something else that you like to say, as above, so below. Oh, you froze again. As above, so below. As below, so above. It goes deeper into it. I can feel the beauty. Yeah, you're breaking up again. This is wonderful. I wonder if I'm breaking up to the. I wonder if it's on my side. I don't know.
I think it's, for me, it's on your side. So I
It's
must be
interesting.
breaking up on your side, and for me, you're breaking up.
Weird.
Um,
It's just a
what
still.
you're what you're referencing is hermetics, which I'm not the biggest fan of hermetics, but hermetics has to be taught and understood in order to jump off the 3D game board, right? We have to wrap our head around how this quote unquote game is even played and designed in order to then go, oh yeah, I can definitely leave this place. So that is hermetics. That is the as above, so below, as below, so above. Now, it was later added, let's say more towards the turn of the 20th century, right? It was more added the so within, so without. That was not there before because it was completely understood by learning the other principles of hermetics that what happens internally is then projected outwardly, right? But that awareness was lost over time, so they added that. So now everybody knows it as above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without. I mention it a lot because there's so many little nuances to what all that entails. So I might be talking about whatever random topic, and then I go, yep, that's a part of as above, so below, so above, because it encompasses, well, everything. And everything that we kind of have to wrap our mind around to then, exit the game board. Right? You can definitely exit the game board even easier when we understand the rules of the game, right?
And here's something. We live in a very conflicted society. There's wars on the Middle East. There's wars in fighting in politics. There's just rampant fear everywhere. So as above, so below. Does that mean above's going to be full of fear?
Above is full of the same strife in many ways. Like if we're talking in galactic terms, it's full of the same strife. There's layers of above, there's layers of parallel, there's layers of, so if we're talking like galactic above, yes, there's very similar strife, very very similar strife of things happening, because as above so below, as below so above. Oh, all is one, and so when one is, we can't have something here happening and it not affect something well outside of our sphere. It's everything is connected, and so through that connectivity, trigger is such a popular word in today's language that you can't have something be happening here and it not be happening somewhere else, or trigger something over here, and vice versa. So here in this plane, other planes, there's definitely things happening. Um, so yes, I mean that's as above, so below, as below, so above, and that's why they had to add so within, so without, meaning humans, you have way more control than you're aware of. Too bad that all of that knowledge had been wasted over had been lost over time. That if we change our inside, it starts to change our outside. And could you imagine that on a grand scale? And then, so if we begin to change the outside on a grand scale, because we've all done great work inside to change, well, then that will also affect above. And then vice versa with this boomerang of time and space. The fluid nature of the fluidity of energy. So, yes. That was another little tangent there, Lucky.
So the strife that's happening here is also happening in the
Elsewhere.
upper
Yeah.
levels.
Yeah. Layers, levels, wherever, planes of existence. Yes.
Huh. So the wars and the battles that are fought between politicians and each other are fought with the angels on the upper levels. I'm just going off and saying, if there is strife here, then there's strife above.
Do you want to go deep into this?
No,
Because I mean,
I,
you're okay. That's what I.
because we'll just go. There's a lot to it, but I think we should go shallow wise, saying that as we humans persevere and grow from this, we help the upper levels help us.
Yes. Vice versa.
Can't,
Yes.
yeah, you
Yes.
cannot. Why do bad things happen to good people? Because collectively we have to raise this level together so that the upper levels can help and even out the good with the bad. Complicated subject.
Yeah. I'm kind of.
Yeah, I know.
I'm kind of thinking of, there's a lot of people that are interested in Atlantis, which there's been multiple Atlantises, plural. But regardless of that, a lot of people wonder, like, could we create an Atlantis? Could we create, a society like that? Can we do things like that? Of course we can. We've done it before, we can do it again. But once again, it starts with within. And that's why they had to add it, because that's the seed, that's the nugget, that's the source. And it's truly the source of all forgetfulness is what happens within, because we do allow the 3D consciousness to override our knowing of how to create Atlantis. And so we can think of it like we tend to think that beings from above, whatever they may be, without getting deep into it, are more advanced than us. We tend to think that way when we have no idea what our potential actually is.
Mhm.
And so, as above, so below, as below, so above, we're not even stepping into utilizing what is above to bring it below, and vice versa, because we're limiting ourselves. Humans are pretty much the most limiting species that I can know. I mean, even animals don't limit themselves because they only know what they know, but it's definitely they're not limiting their themselves out based on what they know. Humans are the ones that will stop themselves. That part is fascinating. Humans will definitely stop themselves even when they have a great idea. They will stop themselves. It's called that fear that we spoke about.
One thing, your body's in a little bit of pain. Are you still okay? Can you go a little while longer, or
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm okay. I'm doing much better now. After Saturday, I'll do much better. I have an anointing on Saturday night that I'll be doing,
Yeah. So I
which
just
will help
wanted
my body.
okay. I don't want to pull this out too long without,
No, it's
I
okay.
sitting too long is a
I
pain.
It's probably not up to me. Do people in the chat want to keep going? I don't. It's their Friday
Well,
night.
we Jay likes to want to talk more about Atlantis.
Oh,
Jay
okay,
Hart.
Jay's wonderful. Yes.
Um,
Well, I
but
do have to do a series on Atlantis on Stars of the Morning Light. I have a whiteboard. I have many whiteboards, and I will write down like, oh, I still need to talk about order. That it's like even just what you were saying, Lucky, that as above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without. It's really the desire to establish the order because we live in chaos, and so the chaos is just boomeranging back and forth, boomeranging back and forth, and that is why there is such a deep desire in people to have order, and this is why it's the order that they desire that they fall into the worship of other things because it creates this sense of order to the chaos. And so, anyways, to talk about what Jay wanted, I have a lot of lists as to very big topics that I will be covering on my YouTube channel, Stars of the Morning Light, like Atlantis, like the concept of what order truly is in Hermetics and outside of Hermetics, to the sun, the sun, to even more ancient texts and whatnot. So a lot of it will be covered. I have my list. I have my list.
it all goes on your channel. It's all in it. Interesting. Like I said, there's a lot to it. There's a lot of different layers to your channel. There's a lot of different subjects. You can
Yeah.
several subjects, and that can be. And Scotty shared it. It's wonderful. It's
Oh,
also in the
thank you,
description.
Scotty.
It's in the description of the channel is everything, which I should have said at the beginning, but everything you ever need to know about Cortney, your Patreon and her channel.
Yeah. Thank you, Lucky. That's
And her link
nice.
tree. Yes, yeah. Um, it's there's a lot to a lot of this, and I seem to have lost track of my thoughts, which I do that sometimes.
Just pick a thought, Lucky, and we'll close with it. Whatever your thought or question is.
Oh! This is one thing that I'm not sure how. This is a tough one that I actually physically wrote by hand, and I didn't. I have a lot in here, but they just take too long. This one, I haven't even vetted it out yet, but inside of us, we all have our own inner demons. Is there? These are not the demons, the evil monsters that you think outside. These are the inner demons of ourselves. Some call the ego.
Yeah.
Some call the. Is there ever a time when you can work with that part of yourself to use it as an adversary, an assistant, a helper?
Yeah.
Or should we just push it away and try to control it?
Yeah, a great many of philosophers always talked about this, and then it would lead into the masks that we wear. Even Socrates would talk about this stuff, the demon within. And it's not like a hell demon attachment, that kind of thing. It's that aspect of the mind that speaks to you, right? And we all kind of have that concept of like, good angel, bad angel on our shoulder. What do we do? Can we work with it? It depends on what your demon is thirsty for. Let's say that. Because what it really is it's that aspect in you. So I don't think it's so much the ego. It's that aspect in you that is aware of what you should fulfill or not fulfill, right? And sometimes, like Socrates allowed his to guide him through everything. You know, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this. And sometimes when you're not living your best lifestyle, let's say, it's going to be what nags at you. It's that nagging voice. So if you're doing something that might not be for you, it's going to nag and nag and nag almost to the point of like you do feel like you're being terrorized by this voice within. It could be that aspect, or it could be something that you are trying to like. Here's a good example. Let's take those who take addiction. There is known that the spirit of addiction, it does have actual true demons along with it, but let's just focus on the inner voice when you're first getting sober. Of like, you want to, man. You want to. You want to go use. You want to go drink. Nobody would know if you picked up a beer on your way home from work. That kind of voice, we would refer to that as the demon. It's bad, or it could be good. Like my inner demon for a long time would nag me about writing. Why aren't you writing? Why aren't you writing? Why aren't you writing? What's getting in your way? You're doing too much for other people. Would you just start writing? Well, nagging, and to almost an excessive, difficult level, has also led a lot of great innovations, a lot of great artwork, a lot of great masterpieces, a lot of great things. So some are referring to that as also their demon within, because it's a stronghold on your consciousness as to what you should or should not be doing. So it could be great. It could be that it wants to do that that great creation. It wants you to create. Or it could be, depending on the person, it could be detrimental. It wants you to go drink. It wants you to, spend money and gamble. It wants you to talk poorly about yourself over and over again. So I think it depends on the human and the voice that's within, and how much credence we give it, and how much. So can we work with it? I say you can work with it if it's possibly for a greater good of you. If it's saying, hey, you have this wonderful invention in you, at least work towards it. Because it will eventually, the more you're not doing it, the more it's going to get louder. It's going to get much louder, and it's going to, it's going to be bullying you, and very poorly. And that's why it gets that title of like the inner demon. And it's not just me, of course, like I said, many great philosophers, this was a very big topic. Even Carl Jung, it's part of his shadow work stuff. So it is a thing. And so I get it's really to the individual. Is yours trying to help you achieve stuff that you want to create and do and live that way? Or is yours trying to kind of knock you down and, let's look at that. Why? So I hope that kind of, and I do want to say I had an old friend. I don't think he did it enough. A dear friend of mine who has passed now, when I was younger, every day when he would come home, he would ask if I hugged my demon that day. Did you hug your demons, Cortney? And so we would get into this conversation about how we all have them. And so if you gave them some hugs, maybe they'd treat you better. Right? We all have the demons inside. And so hug them. The demons deserve love too, same as the giants do. Right? Yeah, I don't think he hugged his well enough.
Well, it's a learning process. Sometimes the advice we give to others is the most important advice we need for ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us need to learn that the advice that we share might be the advice we need for us.
Yeah. Yeah, we should always be open, no matter where the source is, or where it comes from. Yeah.
I think we've completed. I mean, we've done it. We've done it. We're at the 95-minute mark. And
Wow.
yeah, and I thought that this wasn't going to last long enough. I didn't think I'd have enough here.
You didn't think this was going to last long when you know I go off on these crazy tangents? That Cordy
Yes.
could probably talk about everything forever. Oh, and you know what's funny about that too, Lucky? When I am not live here or teaching a class, I am so quiet. I don't speak to anyone. I mean, yes, if I have to talk to somebody on the phone, I am quiet probably 70% of my time. I am quiet. And so everybody sees this Cortney and it's like, no, Courtney's actually very quiet all the time. These are not tangents that just happen, bursts out of nowhere. I am usually very quiet.
It's it, yes. I understand that.
Yeah.
That's the. I think that's the gift of knowing so much that when you're here, it just leads to other things. But when you're in normal life, you just are.
Yeah.
You don't need it. You don't need to express it.
Yeah.
So I think we're just gonna sum this up here. Hug your inner demons. Take care of yourselves. And before we finish up, the thoughts and opinions expressed are only thoughts and opinions, and your own perspective will impact what you hear and may not necessarily be what we say. As we discover new information and as you hear this information, please understand it's our opinions and you have to do your own research and find out how it works for you. And I encourage you that anything you hear here that you find interesting, that we say, get a secondary source, get other things, learn more about it, study, use it to increase your knowledge, because what we say, we're not going to give you all the information you need. It's just going to be enough to get you an idea. And Courtney's channel is full of all kinds of great information, and you can join $8 at her Patron and get a lot more information. And our weekly, it was twice a month meetings and our weekly meditations where we get together and share our intentions. And of course, these subjects are discussed for informational purposes only and should not be considered for legal, health, or professional advice. I think that's enough.
Hey,
I think I did my caveat.
yeah, and Lucky, real quick. So with the Patreon too, everybody, I teach twice there live a month. The weekly meditation that Lucky's talking about is we send out an email once a week, and everybody puts their intentions that do want to participate, and we privately do a meditation based on pyramid work that I teach at 9:30 our own time. So it's not like a weekly thing that we all have to get together. It's by choice, but it's also something that I teach to work with pyramids with. And it works. It's great. People are manifesting. It's wonderful. It's to help us manifest. It's help to build great understanding and connection with others. And then there's always tons of curriculum there. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth it. And if you haven't subscribed, yeah, definitely subscribe, because our goal for at least right now, Lucky, right, is to get me to 500. I need like 50 more subs. So then we can go live on Friday night more regularly, bounce back and forth to each other's channels. So definitely, that's what we need. So if you want to join Patreon, it's a great community. You would get a lot of stuff. And then at least sub. That'd be cool. That'd be groovy. That'd be, and give Lucky a thumbs up and leave comments below here.
Yes, and you can rip me to pieces. I like constructive criticism. I survive off constructive criticism.
You do welcome it.
I welcome it so that I can use it to advance. I might egg on the trolls a little bit more than I should, but YouTube tends to remove those for me without me asking.
Yeah.
I don't know why they do that. It annoys me.
Because you are
But
safe and you are loved.
YouTube has our best interest at heart. Sometimes we might not know any better. I'm just going to say it like that because
That's
that's the best way
right.
of putting it. Yes.
Right. It just takes change in the perspective. Yes.
So, anything you like to sum up with?
Um, I don't know. Come meet me over on my channel, Stars of the Morning Light. I do want to say that Niagara Casey, there is a playlist. People might enjoy that. And I will, at the end of August, I'm trying to look at my calendar. At the end of August, I'm going to go back to my live on Friday mornings. Even if you don't catch me live, it was a good time of inspiration. And that is when I actually used to do the Emerald tablets. So I'm going back to live at the end of August on Friday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I haven't decided exactly what topic we're going to do or what book or material we're going to go through, but that was always a great time for inspiration and connectiveness and knowing that you are a beautiful star. So definitely be looking out for that. That's what I'll say. If this is a promotion of Stars of the Morning Light, I will say that. I will definitely say that.
Okay, and I'm going to say, just go out, be good to other people, be good to yourselves, and just don't hit anybody. Don't hit people.
This is so, man, that was so like Boston of you. Just don't hit nobody, right? Like, oh my goodness. So, yeah, don't hit anyone.
Don't hit people. Don't just go out there and try your best. Be happy, be good, and just don't hit anybody.
You know,
And just go.
yeah, slow progress. If you're hitting people today, tomorrow don't hit people. And then maybe the next day, you could wave instead of hit. Slow progress over time, right, Lucky?
Right, exactly. So most importantly, you can like this video. There we go. You can hate this video, but most importantly, what is next? Bye, everybody.